Please like, subscribe, and be sure to click that bell button for regular and exciting indie film content and your chance to be the first to engage with the Liftoff Global Network of Film Festivals as we embark on launching the careers of the filmmakers of tomorrow.
Hello everyone and welcome to today's stream. Today we are joined by three fantastic filmmakers that picked up the Audience Choice Award from the Paris Liftoff Film Festival. Welcome to today's stream. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got Scott, we've got Luke and Leon. I'm going to head over to you first, Scott. Would you like to introduce yourself, tell us what your film was and what your role was on the film?
Yeah, hi, I'm Scott Leisk. I was the writer and director of Velocity Girl. Also many other hats on the film.
I'm sure, and I cannot wait to find out more because this is the feature that's taking part in this stream today. So there's lots of questions, and a lot of the Liftoff audience are short filmmakers looking to take that jump. So it'll be interesting to hear your story. So thank you again for joining. Over to you, Luke. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about your project?
Hi, my name's Luke Danniells, and I directed The Power of Collage.
Perfect, thank you. And Leon?
Hi, I'm Leon Bodier. So I'm French, but I directed the short film Lovebirds and Ladyloves in the UK a couple years ago, and I was writing, directing.
Perfect. And we are going to start with your film. So what I'm going to do for our lovely audience that are watching, I'm going to play a bit of your film so we can see it as you talk over it and tell us your journey and filmmaking experience. So I just want to say before we do that, if you are watching this live and you have any questions for Scott, Luke or Leon, then please put it in the chat room and we will do our best to answer those as the stream goes on. But let's find out more from Leon. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the inspiration and why you wanted to create this wonderful film?
So the film is basically centered around two themes, which is sexual abuse and women empowerment, because I had like a lot of fellow women creators that told me their stories, and I wanted to share what experience could a woman go through in one night. So my film is just in the sense of one night, what happens to this woman. So yeah.
Nice. I want to continue on that a little bit, but the opening shot of this film is fantastic. So I just wanted to, I've just seen it go by. Such a cool shot with the puddle and the reflection. Was there a specific inspiration for that shot?
Actually, I'm like, as a director, I mean, it was like my first time directing experience, and I'm mostly like, right now I'm doing screenwriting studies. Like screenwriting is my passion. So all of the directing, like the photography and everything I gave to like my friend who had like the entire hand on all the shots and the images and all the design. That was like him, Gordon, my director of photography. So I don't know where he got it from, but he's got like magic in his camera.
I mean, you've just hit one of the key points that we tell all filmmakers who are looking to make their first film. Have a DOP that knows what they're doing and can bring your vision to life. Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense because the visuals on this production are so good. What did you shoot on?
Sorry?
What was the camera?
It was a Blackmagic, I think. I don't know anything about camera. I'm really bad at this.
Fair enough. So this is shot in the UK? Yes,
it was shot in London, actually. Craziest idea I've ever had, but I used to live like 2 blocks away from Leicester Square. And I did the London Film School, and they told us like, oh, we want you to write a short film, so write about like a place you've seen in London. And I saw this bar where the film is shot like a week before going into the uni. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to shoot this film on my own, and I'm going to go ask the owners if I can shoot it there, of like the place that inspired it. And they said yes. So it's like literally dead center, a block from Leicester Square. Yeah.
Amazing, because the inside is just perfect. It's so obviously authentic because it is a real bar. You've just clarified that.
Yeah.
Did you get it for free as being part of the film school, or did you have to give a little bit of money to hire it?
Well, actually, this film is fully independent. I didn't get any help from the film school. It was fully funded with Kickstarter and my own funds. So I actually had to like rent the place. They did a cool price because they were really happy to like share the place with everyone. But yeah, I had to rent the place out.
Yeah, fair enough. That makes sense. And did they have to? Did you have to go in before service and after service, or were they
Yes.
happy to just give you the? So it was early
No.
starts and late finishes for you.
Yeah, it was like I think Monday, Tuesday we could shoot whenever we wanted because the bar
Okay.
was closed, or like the downstairs was open, but the upstairs was closed, and then the downstairs was closed in the night, so the night shots were like from midnight to 5 a.m. when it was closed. It was yeah, we had to work around them, but they were really cool with everything.
Yeah, good. You're lucky. I've had nightmares of shooting if you're saying it was Leicester Square, what a nightmare location. It's so busy. So well done.
Crazy idea.
Well done for that. Another point that I really want to talk about is the casting, because the actors are fantastic across the board, but especially your two leads. How did you cast your actors?
Well, I had a friend, Melissa Smithers, where I was at uni with her, and she got into like after leaving production, like because we did a film and TV production bachelor, and she wanted to go into like casting directing. So I just called her up, and she like knew a bunch of people, so she posted all the roles, and then they sent us tapes, and we chose them specifically because they were the only actors that like not only did like a reading through of the script, but they also shared their opinion on the characters and like the insight they had on the character psychology, and that we really liked that, so that's why we picked them.
Amazing. I was going to ask, did you do a table read through or anything like that? So I'm glad you did. So what was the rehearsal period like? Because you're in these locations that are obviously very populated. Did you have enough time to rehearse alongside the shoot, or did you have to kind of get on set, shoot, move on? What was the process like?
It was very much like we combined everything because it's a small production. So I wanted to have like a promo shoot day where I could meet everyone. Because also what's important to know is that this film was shot during COVID period. Like it was like toward the end of COVID. Yeah. So we like all the table reading and the casting was done online and like through video calls. And so I wanted to meet everyone because it's such a sensitive topic film. So I wanted to like be able to talk to everyone before we got into like the actual crunchy bit of the filming. So we did like a promo shoot to take a bunch of pictures for social media, and we combined that with like rehearsing. So we rehearsed all the scenes, and then my friend did like some still photography during the promo shoot. So we had one day basically before going into the actual shooting.
Yeah, nice. Well, at least you had a little bit. I've heard of filmmakers who just turn up on set with the actors and that's it, you're in. So it's such a relief for the actors, and I guess the director, if you're that way inclined that you want to physically work with your actors, to have that time. So yeah cool. So I can't believe you shot in Leicester Square. Essentially, I think that's absolutely crazy. There must have been so many hurdles that you had to overcome because of the location or the fact that it was COVID. Is there any particular story that really sticks in mind of something that you had to overcome during the shoot?
Well, there is a couple. One of them was that I didn't know, but it was, I don't know how you call that, the Europe Championship for football. I don't know the exact name, but I think England or like the UK was finalists.
Yes.
And it was during that week. So we didn't pick the days of the games, but we were like in that week. So Londoners love partying, so we had like a bunch of drunk people on the night shoots, so that was fun to deal with. But it makes like nice stories. But so we had that, and then we had, because it was also like shot at night, and we had to rush so much because we have such a small like lighting, because it was literally midnight to 5 a.m. until the like sun goes up.
Yeah.
So we were rushing a lot, and I actually had like one of my camera assistant who fell down and had to go to the emergency because he cut his eyebrow. And but we tried to keep everything safe, but it was like a bit of a rush, and people like in the streets, because it was like it was football week, they weren't really patient with us, so that was we kind of had to make it work. But so that was that. And then the bit about COVID was that we wore masks the whole time and we tested every morning, but we had a COVID case confirmed at the end of the first week among our crew. So we had to get, like, on one weekend, we had to get everyone tested and cut down the crew, like the on-set crew from, like, I think we were 30 and we cut down to 8.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was literally like essential, yeah, essential, including the actors. So just essential for like the last 3 days. And a weekend gone by, we were already tired, so it was a lot at the end.
And that's the joys of filmmaking. I guess there's always something, but we all do it because we love it so much. So
Yeah.
I guess that leads me on to I want to talk a little bit more about yourself as a director. What inspired you to get into filmmaking?
It sounds a bit dumb, but it's like it's always been my thing. Like my sister is a professional horse rider, and my thing is filmmaking. Like our parents really wanted to follow like us to follow our passions,
Amazing.
and her is sport, and me is like artistic stuff, and it's always been through filmmaking. Mostly right now it's through writing. Like I really want to write films. I've been focusing on that for the past couple of years. Right now I'm doing like a master in Canada. I can say a master in Canada about like research around screenwriting, because I want to push through like what we can do, like see if we could, like what else we can do with screenwriting. So like doing this film was just a way to see like, can I actually produce something? Like can I actually write something and put it on screen? And I love that experience, like to be able to like actually put words on paper and then see them come to life. That was really important for me, like when I was like, because I was 20 at the time, so it was really important for me then.
Yeah, to see the whole process it is magic. To see what you had in your brain to then seeing it on screen is fantastic. Thank you for sharing your story. I guess my final question is, how is the film doing on the festival circuit? I know it's been out for a little while if you finished it a couple of years ago. So how has it been received on the festival circuit?
Actually, it's not been on the festival circuit for a while because
Okay.
I mean, it's like, yeah, because it's like I had like some personal stuff, like mental health stuff that made it that I wanted to put it on the site to actually be able to really focus on it when I wanted it to come out. So it's been on the festival circuit for a couple 3 months or something like that.
Okay.
And it's doing okay, it's doing well. Like I'm really happy with the reception, and like the crew is thrilled to be able to see it like out there. They're already happy, so that makes me happy.
Good, amazing. Well, we are coming to the end of your segment. Scott or Luke, is there anything that you want to ask Leon from what he's been saying during the chat?
I feel your pain with the COVID. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that was a big problem on our shoot. But yeah, congrats on your.
Luke, you're muted, Luke. Luke, you're muted. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was just saying, films can be problematic enough without having to add COVID to the mix.
Honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
We try to make it work, but it's just like we were really careful, but then it always comes around to bite us. Like honestly.
Yeah.
I am going to ask it because I planted it earlier. What is your favorite film, Leon?
My favorite film is Blade Runner, like the original one.
Blade Runner original. Behind this step and repeat is the poster of the original Blade Runner. Yeah.
Cool.
Alongside Barry Lyndon, and I think Lost Boys is on the other side. So
great choices.
Great choices. I am going to change the screen over here, so we're going back to our screen. What is next for you, Leon? What are you working on now? I know you said you're writing scripts and you're going through doing a master's, but have you got a project that you're burning to make?
It's not filmmaking, unfortunately. I'm really like looking forward to publishing my first like novel.
Okay.
Sort of, it's like a poetic novel. So that's what I'm doing this year.
Amazing. Very cool. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for being here with us. Good luck with everything.
Thank you so much.
Cool. So, Luke, we're going to move on to your project. And before we get there, what's your favourite film?
I'd have to say, I mean, it's really difficult because obviously it changes, and I like different films for different reasons. But a film that I go back to again and again has to be One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, brilliant film. Brilliant film. Yeah. Nice. Well, with that in mind, let's find out a little bit more about yourself as a filmmaker and your career as a photographer. I think it's all linked, so we might as well talk about it. So do you want to tell us a little bit more about the inspiration behind your documentary and yourself as a filmmaker?
Well, I'm a photographer, really. I've been a freelance photographer for 32 years, and this is really my first venture into film. Certainly as a director, and that came about. I met David Newton in 2017 in an art gallery where we both had representation. Okay. And he was having a go, and I helped him hang the show. And we got on, and we've been friends ever since. And then during COVID, we started talking. At that point, you weren't allowed to travel, so it was just phone calls. But when the country opened up a little bit further, then he was able actually to come to the house, and he brought with him one of his collage sketchbooks. And I just asked him, how do you get from that to a finished piece of work? And he said, oh, I'll show you. And so actually together we ended up doing a drawing from one of his collages, and then it goes on from there. And I found the whole process fascinating. And I just said to him, this should be seen. You know, people who buy your work don't get this bit. You know, they buy your work because they like it, but they don't understand the immense amount of work that has gone on behind to get to that finished piece. Yeah. Anyway, that was just a conversation. And a few months later, he phoned me and said, remember what you said? Well, I think you're the man to make the film. I think, what? You know, and he said, yeah, how do you fancy having a go at it? And I said, well, yeah, if you trust me to do it, then I'd love to have a chance to make something.
Well, congratulations then on this being your first film, first documentary. Yeah, it's impressive. So, and the subject is great as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was actually, I had a conversation with David just last night, and I was saying, had you not had such an incredible studio, you know, if he was one of those really tidy artists, had a very technical studio, the film wouldn't have had the same feel at all. It was, it was a gift. You know, finding Dave and finding what he does and how passionate he is about it was a gift, I think, for any filmmaker, really.
I think that leads nicely into the next point that I want to make. I was reading on your submission earlier and your bio and a little bit more that you'd written about the film. And there was a sentence in there that you put that it was shot with using two cameras, a Blackmagic for the clean shots, and then a Sony Handycam for the more kind of grainy looks. Yeah. And I think it's just perfect. I think that's such a good way to put this documentary together, giving it different tones and feels. Where did that idea come from?
Well, originally I thought, I'll shoot it all on a Handycam, €100, you know, eBay. Yeah. And so I started doing sort of just test shots at home. And I really like that kind of saturated, grainy color that you get sort of from a Handycam, slightly sort of retro kind of feel. Yeah. And then I was talking to my son. My son is a filmmaker himself, and he owns a production company in London called Intergalactic Studios. And we were sort of going back and forth because he was going to be my cinematographer. So then we decided, no, we'll shoot it on a Blackmagic and just do B-roll on the Handycam, and then see if we can work it into the film together. And so that's what we did. So all the clean, clear shots are done with a Blackmagic that we hired, and then all the kind of grainy, sort of color saturated shots are done on the Handycam. And I shot B-roll, and Rory did his magic with the Blackmagic camera.
Nice. Yeah, I think it works very well.
I wanted the film to have a sort of collage-y feel. I wanted the film to almost be a collage in itself, and that's really why the two very distinctive looks intercut. I think, I don't know whether it succeeds in that, but that was the idea. That was the thinking behind it.
I'm so happy you made that choice. It was good. I enjoyed that when I saw that. Another point that's fantastic across this documentary, which nobody can hear who's watching this because it's muted, is the score. It's a really, I think it fits perfectly. So is this an original score or?
Absolutely, yeah. That was just another decision was whether to, you know, go and find stock music and you try and put a score together, or to have an original score written for the documentary. And I'm very lucky in that my oldest friend happens to be the drummer of a British band called The Cure. They're quite a famous.
Yeah, they're pretty famous.
And yeah, a phone call later, and he had agreed in his downtime that he would score the film.
Amazing. It always elevates a project having great music to it. So
absolutely,
tick, you're ticking all the boxes for your first film, which is great.
Yeah, well, you call on your friends, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And
you know, if you have to put a team together, you try and put the best team you possibly can, and that was really my job as the director, was to get the best team I could, you know, think of. And from that point of view, obviously, I used my son to do the camera work, and I used one of my best friends to do the music.
So now that you've dipped your toe in the filmmaking world, are you staying?
Well, I'm still a photographer. I have a job tonight, shooting a parade in Longford.
Okay.
But yeah, I've got two scripts sort of finished, ready to go. One short, probably about 10 minutes, but it could end up being 12 minutes.
Okay.
And a longer piece, that'll be half an hour or so.
And when you say written, are these narratives then, or are you sticking with documentary?
No, these are narratives. I wanna try directing actors. That's why I've written two, because one I really am pleased with, and I want to do that very seriously. But I want to dip my toe into directing first. So I wrote a short, and you know, which I'll probably even just film using iPhones or something. It's not gonna be an expensive project, but it's just for me to be able to see if I can do it.
Yeah.
You know, and if that works and that's okay, then I'll go about trying to get serious funding for the other short.
Amazing. That sounds
and I'm
great.
Also in the process of writing my first feature. I'm 26 pages in.
Fantastic. Good. I was going to say, if you're looking to submit these shorts to festivals, be wary of the runtime. There is a thing around that. Yeah. So you said 12 minutes is perfect. Anything that's over 20 has to be phenomenal to be considered for live screenings. So just bear that in mind. But
well, I hope it will be phenomenal when it
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will.
I wouldn't put it into film festivals if I wasn't happy with it. That's for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's expensive business, the film festivals, submitting to all of them. So make sure you're very clear on where you want to submit.
It really start quickly.
It does. It adds up.
And you really have to do sort of due diligence as well in really studying the festivals you're entering too.
I think the best advice I can give is look at what the prizes are and look at if there's a way. If it's a script that you're submitting to a festival, is it development funding that they help you with, or is it a mentor, or is it, what is the prize? Is that what you're looking for, or is it just a laurel to put on your project?
Yeah.
You have to really be careful, because like you said, your money will disappear. I'm glad to hear you've got so much going on next.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, this was a real learning process for me because, you know, Dave Newton was trusting me to do something that I've never done before, and so because he placed that trust in me, I really wanted to do a good job. I mean, I spent 3.5 months talking to Dave on the phone every single day.
Wow.
Trying to understand his process, trying to really understand him further, and that really paid off, because out of those 3.5 months, what I was able to do was write 10 questions. So when we had the equipment, we went to his studio, just me and my son, and we basically interviewed him. And we filmed the interview to get him used to the camera. We didn't use any of the footage, visual footage, but what we got from the audio is what we hung the documentary on.
Yeah.
We hung the visuals on from that audio, from those 10 questions.
Perfect.
And obviously there are bits where he is live talking to camera, but apart from that, it's all came from that interview we did on the first evening.
Nice. Fantastic. Thank you. I had another question. It's escaped my head. Oh, yes. The first screening, was that a festival screening, or did you set up a screening with Dave and the family and everyone to watch the project? How did you go about celebrating the finish of
Well, no, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because as far as screening is concerned, some film festivals won't allow your submission if your film has been screened.
It depends on the premiere status, yeah.
And so friends and family haven't seen it.
Okay.
We will organise a screening either sort of hopefully before the end of the year, but it'll probably be in the new year.
Okay.
And everyone will be able to come and watch it then. So yeah, I mean, we did have some difficulties in that when we first when I finished the film, it was 20 minutes long, and or just under 20 minutes, and I sent it to a producer here in Ireland called John Kelleher, and he actually advised us to add 5 minutes to give it its best chance to be televisual.
Yes, yeah.
So as far as footage was concerned, that was relatively, easy. Other than my son had gone home, I didn't know how to use Premiere Pro. I had Premiere Pro, so I'd spend, everything I wanted to do to add that 5 minutes. I had to go to YouTube and learn how to use Premiere Pro, and then add those 5 minutes. So that was okay, but obviously I'd only had the music written for a 20-minute piece, and Jason was now on tour with The Cure, so the chances of getting him to write more was zero. And so I phoned him and said, listen, what am I going to do? And he said, well, you know about music, you listen to enough music, you just do a cut and paste and take the existing music and make a new sort of soundtrack out of it. So that was, again, a whole, I'd take one part of the music and I'd take another part of the music and I'd layer them underneath each other to try and create something that still sounded right, but was different. Yeah. Yeah, that took a while.
Editing, oh my God, it's a nightmare unless you're like attuned to it.
Post takes so long.
Yeah.
That, I suppose, if I learned anything from filmmaking was, my God, getting color grades and adding music and adding 5 minutes. It's so time consuming.
It is, yeah. You sit there and think, oh, it's just a small change. And then it's like there's a whole unraveling of,
Film, how did it take so long? And now I understand much more. And so I'm prepared when it happens
for
again.
These next two projects and the feature that's coming. So
yeah.
Scott, Leon, do you have any questions for Luke of anything that he's been mentioning here today?
Just kudos for getting your soundtrack from you said Jason from The Cure. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. He's a friend, so it wasn't actually that hard. I mean, you two could probably get a soundtrack made by him.
Right.
It cost a bit more than I paid, but.
Right. Oh, but I feel your pain learning Adobe Pro. I actually edited my Premiere. Sorry, Adobe Premiere. Edited my film as well. So yeah, and then the outputs. It takes outputting things takes time. As well. So
it all takes time. It all takes time from deciding this is what I want to do. Right, now how do I do it? Then finding someone on YouTube who actually talks the same language that you do and doesn't just waffle on for hours and hours and hours.
Right, yeah.
That was a challenge.
Get to the point, right? Yeah, some of those videos, they don't. So,
Give me the information. You know,
Right.
I don't want your story. You know.
All right, cool. Well, thank you, Luke. We're going to move on now to
Thank
Scott
you.
with his film. I'm going to get that loaded up now. So, Scott, do you want to tell us a little bit more about Velocity Girl and why you wanted to make this project?
Yeah. So Velocity Girl, I've always wanted to do a story because, well, I grew up in Houston, Texas. Essentially, it's a large city here in the States, and I would go as a young boy go visit my grandparents in Colorado and at a farm. So I always wanted to do a story about like a fish out of water kind of story of a kid in the country, and I wanted to explore that the countryside and bring out that what the experiences that I had, you know, being from the different locations there. So that was part of it, and then I wanted to do another coming of age story where we follow Chloe in this story and her trials and tribulations, going through her mother being a drug addict and having her own demons and that kind of thing, and then having an uplifting ending to it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, it's beautifully shot. It is really well done across the board on
Thank
that.
you.
And
Yeah, my
go on.
DP is Aaron Lee Lopez. It's kind of one of his first projects he took on as a DP. He mainly focuses on writing and directing himself, but he's worked on big projects like The Hangover and
Oh wow.
big Hollywood movies as well. So Inception, I think, is another one. So, but yeah, I've worked with them at this company called Mutt Productions out of San Antonio, and this is actually my third feature film. So
Nice.
but yeah.
The locations in this feature are so cool. You have so many, and I can just imagine the call sheets that you went through to get this.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I went out and scoped out all these locations, the city locations really, and then we focused it. So I wrote the script with I wanted to put a star in the role of the uncle. So I had to write the script to where there was not so much travel involved, and that's why we focused a lot of his. We have Craig Sheffer who plays the sheriff. You may recognize him from A River Runs Through It. He was Brad Pitt's older brother, most recently on American Horror Story. But anyway, I focused it on one location so that we wouldn't have to move him around so much, and that's the farmhouse. So that was one of the last locations that we got. But yes, we were moving around a lot within San Antonio there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Much, like I said, much to the chagrin of my production team, but we were able to pull it off, even with COVID. And,
Yeah. So when was this shot?
well, yeah. So we started in February of 2020.
Okay.
We filmed for 2 days, and then COVID, right? Took a hiatus until September. We filmed, and then October, and then November, and then we took another hiatus. So by by November of 2020, we pretty much filmed everything except for the country scenes. So that was kind of good in a sense. We had all the city high school scenes done, all the cityscapes, all that was done. And then, like I said, we focused on the country scenes, the farmhouse scenes, and the cow and all that. So yeah, so that led me to focus on trying to cast that star that I was going through, and I went through many different famous people and finally settled on. I mean, I had this one actor who was going to do it, and he kind of bailed out at the last minute. So it's like I talked to him for like 7 hours on the phone. It's like,
Oh wow.
Anyway, but yeah, no, and now I've got Craig in the role, and I couldn't imagine anybody else playing that role. He really, to me, knocked it out of the park, and it was very, very great working with him.
And what about the other actors? Because I think
the other actors. So yes, so Ivana Danforth, who plays Chloe.
Yeah.
She was an actress who's been in some other movies that I helped produce. Like I was mentioning, Aaron, he's a writer-director as well. So she's in 2 other feature films called a Teenage Girl series, and she plays in this movie called Skip Day, and then she's in a teenage vampire story as well. So we were familiar with her, and actually I cast her first, and then she got put into those other projects basically, and then while we're putting my project on hold.
Yeah.
For lots of other reasons, but yeah. So and then Cole, he's a local actor as well. So all the other cast were local actors. Yeah, I didn't have to go too far for them. There's some talent in the San Antonio and Austin area.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I was blown away by I think Chloe's performance was just fantastic. So I'm very glad to hear that she's doing well with other projects as well. You said that this is the 3rd feature that's in your kind of repertoire at the moment. What's the plan with this film? Has it got distribution behind it, or is it looking for distribution?
Well, yeah, we are looking for distribution. I've gotten my other films distributed, and the other projects that I've worked on have been distributed as well. So we do have relationships with distributors, so they have like first look kind of at
Great.
it. But yeah, I mean, I think this movie has more of a international type appeal to it. So I'm looking at foreign distribution, seeing what I can get out of that. So yeah, I mean, I was fortunate on my 2nd feature. I had a kid that was part of this band that toured the world. Essentially, his name was Riker Lynch. I don't know if you're familiar with Ross Lynch. He was on the Austin and Alley TV show. So they had this band with all their siblings, and so I was able to tap into that. But
Nice.
This film, I don't have that, but I've got the star power of Craig. So hopefully that'll give the movie some legs.
Are you going to AFM this year? It's in a couple of weeks' time.
No, I have never actually gone. So no, I don't have plans for that. But yeah, that'd be probably something I should look at. And,
I think they're definitely worth
Cons.
attending. Film markets. You're in a position where you have something to show, and you've got a repertoire that has done very well. So you're in a very strong position to attend a film market because you have the physical thing. There's a platform called Cinando. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but that's where, if you were to attend AFM, you'd get a membership with Cinando, and it's how you book all the meetings with the sales agents and distributors that you're kind of eyeing up. So it's a very good way to kind of break through, but that's what your producer would be doing anyway, ideally. But it's a good. Oh, there you go then. Then get on Cinando and book those meetings. But it's
Cinando, okay. I'll
yes,
look that up. Yeah.
yes, Cinando. It's an amazing platform. You can filter once you're in the platform to North America. Then I think you can even filter down to Texas. You can also then look at all the companies that are there, what they're selling, what their ethos is. And if you match, you can book meetings and stuff like that. So it's a very strong platform, powerful platform, I should probably say. Yeah. Very cool. So you've got these 3 films done. What's next?
Well, I've got different various scripts that have different budgets. I mean, I have one Roman era script that's I would say it's Gladiator meets Dances with Wolves.
Oh, cool.
So that's something that I'm trying to get around, and I'm going to start submitting hopefully to maybe some screenwriting festivals or some producers. I have another script that it was the first script that I wrote. It's called Hacienda. It's Mi Familia. I don't know if you're familiar with that. My Family, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Latino-based story that was made back in the 90s, and meets Cinema Paradiso. So that's kind of the spin on that one. So,
Nice.
But I do have some lower budget ones that I'm looking to try to get done as well.
If you don't mind me asking, how do you fund your projects?
Well, I remember Leon mentioning Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I did Kickstarter and Indiegogo for my first 2 feature films for production and post-production. Unfortunately, with Velocity Girl, I was not able to tap into the
Yeah.
crowdfunding. So luckily I do have a day job still, so I'm able to self-finance a lot of my movies, in private investing as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean,
It's
I'm
the
not working with
hardest.
million-dollar budgets, but
It's the hardest part of filmmaking.
exactly,
It is.
exactly. I mean, you can have all the ideas in the world, but yeah, you got to have the money to get them
To get them made.
or get them started. So yeah.
Yeah. Kickstarter, it can be such a fantastic tool, but it's a full-time job in itself to keep that going and hitting your target. But yeah, nice. Thank you. It's a question we get asked by filmmakers all the time. How do we fund our projects? So the more filmmakers I can ask, the better the answers are. So thank you. Yeah, Luke, Leon, do you have any questions for Scott? Oh, Luke, you're muted.
Just about crowdfunding, really. Do you not worry when you crowdfund that if a crowdfund maybe wasn't successful, it would damage, the film?
Yeah, I mean, that my first feature, Mahogany Sunrise, I did have that, where it failed a couple times, and I went back, and a lot of my backers were, friends and family, people that have known me for years, so I didn't have a lot of strangers on that one. It was more of my second go with Colossal Youth, that I had backers that were from all over the place, all over the world. But yeah, no, that is something that, does it tarnish your reputation or whatever, but you got to try. I mean, it's
I'm not. Yeah,
people maybe will
in the future,
right. Well, they tap into your. They want to know your story. They tap into your enthusiasm to get the project done. So if they see you trying again, you lower your threshold that you're trying to meet, then they may, I'm going to still back you. So
yeah, I've had a lot of stories where they haven't got it the first time round, but they've. Do you get the email list of the people that backed, or you can? Yeah.
Yes, you do. I think they've changed those rules though.
Have they? I think you knew what I was going to say. Then you lower it and then email them all being like, it's back up, please try again. And I've heard a bit of success with that, but yeah. Cool.
I was just going to say, yeah, I tapped into the music and everything as well. I just really enjoyed making Velocity Girl. I tapped into all the creative outlets that I could. I mean, I did set design. One of my favorite scenes is Chloe's bedroom at her city home. It's fun decorating that. And I don't know what's playing in the background right now, but that was one of my favorite scenes where she talks to her turtle and everything there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we worked with animals in this movie. We got the turtle, we got the cow.
Yeah.
We got the dog. The dog in the movie is actually Craig's support dog, but it's it's so timid. We incorporated it into the movie. One of the biggest challenges was getting the cow as part of this project. I thought that was going to be fairly simple. We filmed the country scenes in Hondo, Texas, and I reached out to FFAs and Feature Farm of America is what that stands for. But yeah, and finally I found a cow, and my producers were like, well, why can't you just steal a tractor or something? Like, no, it has to be a cow. That was the main emphasis of her turning point in the story there.
So how did you end up getting the cow in the end?
I finally heard back from this girl who had a cow, and the cow's name in real life is Erica, and we called it Maisie. She was actually pregnant during our filming. So yeah.
There you go.
She was a prize cow. So
never work with children and animals doesn't apply to you.
Yeah.
No. You just got to do it. Yeah, I mean that was the story. So
yeah.
Perfect.
Well done.
It's nice to end on a positive note, getting the cow and getting the film made. Thank you for sharing your story. All of you, thank you for sharing your stories. I think it's very inspiring, also for the people that are watching, just to hear the hurdles that you had to overcome in order to get the project made, seeing it then being made, and then hearing what's next. So thank you. Yeah, thank you again. Do you have any final thoughts from anyone?
Just like to say thank you, obviously, to Lift Off for selecting us in the first place.
Thank you.
And thanks to everyone who voted. It was phenomenal. And obviously, thanks to my team as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you to Lift Off as well. Yeah, I mean, it was very great to be a part of this project, and having the support of the fans out there that help get us to where we are here. So thank you.
Thank you. You can stay on the call. I'm just going to end the stream. So thank you to everyone that joined. And we will be seeing you next time for the Amsterdam Audience Choice Roundtable. Until then, goodbye.